Welcome to HOD Studio. It's Friday night, and you all know what that means. It's HOD Live night. Thank you. We have a plethora of people in the studio. This is filmed in front of a live studio audience, much like The Price is Right. And we have joining us tonight for the second time in the past month, Eric Jr. is here.
Hello.
He had a blast with the bishop. We both remember that. That will make the HOD Live highlight real. Yes. And then we have next to Eric Jr., Evangelist Courtney Johnson.
Yes, sir.
There's someone new joining us in studio tonight. We actually have, of course, First Lady Marie Battle. We have Rita East. And then we have Camille Fuller, who is the friend of Eric Jr. You know, these young people nowadays, I don't know what you call each other. Girlfriends, boyfriends, booze.
No.
Lady friends. I don't know what you call each other. But the significant other, is that good?
I don't care.
Significant other. Camille Fuller, she's in studio too. How do you all feel today? How's everything going?
Going good.
Yeah, I feel wonderful. I'm always excited about Fridays.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah,
that's so precious. How's internship going?
It's good. I like it.
It's going good?
Yeah, it's pretty laid back. Work today. Mainly work from home, so.
Work from home?
Yeah, mainly.
How much work did you do, and how much time did you spend eating tacos?
I mean, I finished my work for the day pretty early. I was just editing some videos.
And you're intern for Worldwide Technology.
Yep.
And who's the CEO of Worldwide Technology?
Well, the CEO is Jim Kavanaugh.
I thought it was
and the founder is Dave Stewart.
Dave.
But he's like, he's the founder, so he's like the overall boss. But the CEO is Jim.
And Dave is a black man, right?
Yeah.
I bet he lives a wonderful life, doesn't he?
He's a billionaire, yeah.
Yeah, kind of life you aspire to, don't you? You want to be wealthy, don't you, son?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, yeah.
You want nice cars.
Yeah.
Nice. Where's your dream city to live in?
I want to live in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. You know you have to walk fast. You live in Chicago.
I walk
We went to Chicago before and they
True.
almost ran you over.
Remember that? A long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to check with anybody to see where they may want to live? I mean,
I don't.
name.
I don't.
I mean, you may have to check with some people.
I don't think I have to, no.
All right. Courtney, so how was your day today?
Very busy. I had to do some major reworking from December forward on the grants billing. And
That sounds boring. Let me skip past that.
it's not boring.
That sounds extremely boring.
It was busy.
So you work with grants, huh?
I do.
So you give money to nonprofits?
No, we get money from different sources.
Okay.
So the ones I was working on today were for the city.
Okay.
And they have to be a certain way before they're submitted. So I had
Now,
to
who do you
make sure.
give the money to, though, is the question.
The money goes towards a program that funds client expenses as well as payroll for the employees.
I mean, how can one get this money?
A grant. You have to have a grant
so
application.
you don't give it to people, you give it to other agencies.
We get it from the agencies.
You get it, and who do you give it to?
It goes towards the clients, and monies goes toward payroll. So
Okay.
clients, housing, and all different
How
types
do you
of
become
expenses.
a client?
You have to qualify through the program. Well, you have to be unhoused for many of the programs.
Okay.
Then there's a significant amount that we get funding for, maybe about $5 million a year for veterans. So you have to be a vet.
How many homeless people do you help?
Well, today alone, probably 125.
That's good.
But I have 12 more grants that I have to complete before the month's
Tough
over.
population. I was watching this documentary about homeless people in Los Angeles, San Francisco. I know you want to live in Chicago. Some of the article came out today talking about the most expensive cities to buy a house in.
Yeah.
One of which was Los Angeles. One is San Jose. One is San Francisco. A lot of West Coast cities. Anyway, back in the 1970s and 80s, it was very cheap to live in downtown San Francisco. But then gentrification came in, and the price for lofts and condos rose. Where if everyone in this room pulled all of our money together, then we may be able to afford a room in the back of someone's house. That's how
Yeah.
expensive.
Wow.
In fact, this guy who was working for one of the tech companies, he literally rented out a bunk bed in a room, not a room, but a
Wow.
bunk bed in a room for $3,500 a month.
Wow.
So in Los Angeles, they have these little tiny homes where homeless people can come,
Yeah.
and they have air conditioning, heat, and stuff like that. But homeless population that's getting to be a problem in
Right.
housing. In
It
fact,
really is.
it's going to be housing. To afford a house, it's going to be This will be something
it's
else.
going to be considered a luxury here soon to have a house. Yeah.
Absolutely. So okay, that's a good program. I'm glad you're helping out, things like that. Must be very rewarding.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
You
I
like,
really
do you like what
it.
you do?
I love it, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I love it more if we were fully staffed.
Well, that's more work for you though.
well, I'm doing the work of 4 people now. So
Well, yeah, you can do that though. You're super Courtney. The work of 4 people.
Okay.
Wow. All right. So that's good though. So you're coming from Wells Fargo though.
yes.
Okay. So this is working in a nonprofit. You do feel a greater sense of helping
Right.
people.
Yeah, I do. So that's very refreshing.
That's
and it's
good.
a change of pace because Wells Fargo, I felt like it was just a paycheck. I really didn't see what I was contributing, but I see it in this field. So
What's your thoughts on that, Eric Jr.?
On what exactly?
What this past 5 minutes we've been
Well, I
talking
mean,
about.
no, you talked about a couple of stuff. You talked about housing,
But just the whole
That's true.
nonprofit and all that stuff.
Man, I think it's good to provide stuff for people, help. I think a lot of nonprofits are good at that. It's just they don't pay people a lot, which is the problem because now a lot of people aren't working for them. So that's why they're so understaffed.
Here's a question everyone wants to know. Are you a political conservative or are you a political liberal?
I'm probably more liberal, yeah.
Okay, so you're more into helping people and things like that.
I'd say so, yeah.
Do you believe that the nation has an obligation to support those who are not making enough money, who are going through financial difficulties, or do you think should we increase our benefits or should we suspend benefits?
I mean, I feel like it should be increased because like every other country in the world does something along those lines.
Good, you raised some right, First Lady. I agree too. I think we should increase our benefits. I
Yes.
think programs are good because you have to take care of those who are less
Right.
fortunate. And you're right, a lot of countries do that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so since we have 2 young people on the panel, and I use that term loosely for one of them, I want to get into
middle-aged.
some articles that really touch young people. We have a young person also in the studio with us here today. Okay, so these are very interesting stories. Let me read this first story. You may have heard about this story before. It says, and this is here in St. Louis. Welcome to the restaurant that has banned under 30s. Okay. The owner of Bliss in Missouri say their refusal of younger patrons creates a grown and I can't say this on there, sexy ambiance. But it's just a joke. But some accuse them of discrimination. It says when Marvin and Tina Pate opened their Caribbean-style Bliss restaurant in the suburbs of St. Louis, Missouri last month, the goal was to create a grown and sexy ambiance. There were DJs and dancing, rum cocktails, jerked lamb chop, hookahs for customers to smoke, plus a strictly
yeah,
enforced.
I was like, wait, what?
Calm down, people. I'm just reading. I know. Settle down.
Man,
He
who
said,
cares?
yeah.
We'll get on. We'll talk about the scandal in just one second. Settle down. I know you all are sanctified. I'm aware of that. You all go to church. You're gonna prove that to me.
Because the way you said it.
Why did I say
said-
it?
I
You
thought you
said
said hookers.
Hooker.
Yeah, it's hookah.
Hookah.
Okay, whatever. See, I'm so sanctified. I don't even know how to pronounce it. So I don't know what's going on down there, but apparently
it's
you know how to
hookah.
pronounce. I'm
Hookah.
unfamiliar with this. Apparently everyone else in the room is familiar with how to pronounce. That's right, First Lady. We're the only saved ones. Jerked lamb, I know how to pronounce that, chop, and hookahs for customers to smoke, plus a strictly enforced minimum age requirement of 30 for women and 35 for men. Marvin Pate said the policy was designed to maintain a sophisticated environment. He said the restaurant in Florissant, about 18 miles north of downtown St. Louis, aimed to evoke the resort-like atmosphere of Caribbean holiday destination. That's the gentleman right there. The policy prompted debate on social media. Some patrons welcomed an establishment that catered to mature diners and was free of children and boisterous young adults. All right. We don't want to have to worry about the young folk who bring the drama, said John Hope Bryant, an entrepreneur. Are you two feeling triggered yet? I can actually hear myself here, and the vibes are immaculate, another said. Others said the ban was an understandable response to the crime rate in St. Louis, which has consistently ranked as among the most dangerous cities in the United States. However, the policy left a bad taste in the mouth of online commentators who flooded Bliss Restaurant's Facebook page and crowdsourced review sites with negative feedback. Yelp, the restaurant review site, suspended posts to the Bliss Restaurant's page after a wave of 1-star reviews as it investigated whether the content reflects the actual consumer experience. In a Facebook post, Bliss Restaurant pushed back strongly on the comparison with racism. I don't know who did that. As a Black-owned business, we are acutely aware of the impact and history of racial discrimination. The restaurant replied, our policy is implemented solely to create a specific atmosphere to ensure a particular experience that aligns with the vision of our establishment. Pate told the local station KSDK News that in spite of the fierce response, the age restriction would remain and patrons who appear to be under 30 will have their IDs checked by hostess or security. We have been getting, you have a fake ID?
No, no. I'm 21 anyway. But no.
You have to be. You have
to go to there?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to go
you
there
wouldn't.
anyway.
Okay,
yeah.
That's right, son. You're saved. we have been getting a little backlash, but that's okay because we're sticking to our code. Pate said, the restaurant is just something for the older people to come do. Have a happy hour, come get some good food, and not have to worry about some of the young folks who bring some of that drama. He keeps repeating that. Missouri restaurants are legally entitled to impose age limits. The state's Human Rights Act bans discriminations on the grounds of sex, race, religion, national origins, ancestry, disability. Age can only be a cause of discrimination in the workplace under state law. Okay, so let's get into this. Questions, this raises a couple of good questions about, a lot of good questions. One, are young people out of control? Are you all dangerous? Are you all a threat to peace and safety? Do you come in with a lot of drama? Are you loud? Are you ignorant? Are you unruly? Shall I go on? But this business obviously wants to create an atmosphere where there's older people, 30, I think, for women, 35 men. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't think anybody who's young is gonna want to go there anyway. If it's just 35 plus year olds, I mean, I don't think they would want to go anyway. So I mean, I don't think that he's really like doing what he thinks he is, like making young people be like, oh, that's so cool, I wish I could go. You just don't care.
So you wouldn't go? You think it's a lot of hype?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a younger person would just be like, okay, I wouldn't go there anyway if it's just gonna be a people who are 35 plus. And then I just think like a lot of the people there who are probably 35 plus, they want to be in their 20s again anyway. That's why they're going.
Wow! Wow!
I mean, like,
you like that, don't you? Support that, don't you, Camille?
I'm talking about the people 35 who are going there, not people who are 35 plus. Period. So if you're 35 plus and going there, then sure. But like, I'm talking about people who are 35 plus wanting to go to basically like a social bar so they can like hang out and relive their 20s. I feel like that's just
Why are you harping on that?
He is, ain't
they
you?
want to revive
But
something
you know
that they
what,
lost.
only those people specifically though.
Yeah.
Like,
Time
not
does
everybody,
fly.
obviously. Not everybody.
You're gonna
knows.
be 30 in a
No,
couple
but like,
days.
I'm
In a
saying,
blink of an eye.
I'm saying like
No, you're not high school
people
no more.
there who are going for like to party or like to have hookah and like party and like they're not to like eat and just
And
chill out.
what is hookah? Explain hookah.
It's
to
like
me.
a form of it's like a vape and it's like in a little like a I don't know how to use it. Like
What's
a
it-
They used to
glass.
call it like a bomb.
What's it taste like?
I've never had it.
Uh-huh.
He almost had you.
I almost had him, didn't I? It's a setup. So yeah, I get that. It could be a PR move because one thing, this story has actually made national headlines. And so a lot of people this restaurant's in the spotlight because of that.
Anything wrong with it. There's some places out here for younger folks that are.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I don't think like, I think like it's not that big of a deal to get review bombed. I don't think people are younger really. I didn't know about it until today.
Really?
Like,
That's because HU like we break news stories. But I would say that I don't necessarily question whether or not it's right or wrong, but I question the effectiveness of it. And what I mean by that is I've been places where just because you're over 35 doesn't mean you don't have drama.
And that's my point. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the people who are going 35 who still mentally think they're 20, they're going to do the same things.
Yeah, I mean, just
That's
because
a
you're
certain
35
subset of
or 30 doesn't mean you're not going to have drama. Doesn't mean
that's
it's
my point.
right.
Because there's 35-year-olds who like plus who want to be
That's
like,
true.
and they act like it, and that's my point. It's not just like you're 35. Everybody who's that way wants to be younger. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about like the people who are going there, like because there's people who are in their 30s who act like they still did in high school, and so like those type of people who are going there, they're gonna cause the same problems as anyone else.
Right. So now these people that are in third, who are you talking about specifically? What are the names? Are any in this room right now?
I mean,
First of all, no one is 30 in this room except for.
I mean, if I was
true.
talking about people in this room, from what I'm saying, that would mean they were going to this place.
That's
And
absolutely
so
right.
that's what I'm talking. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the people who are attending this place, trying to party like they were in high
I
school.
get
Yeah.
you. I get
Yeah.
you. I just think that it's part of the problem with us, and it even extends to the church, is that we tend to overgeneralize people and consider certain people, whether it's an age or whatnot, as being more this or less this, when that's not necessarily the case. Now, I can see if they want to play a certain type of music, which music taste does change at those ages,
Yeah.
but to say that a crowd is going to bring drama versus not drama, then what's the difference between a 25-year-old and a 30-year-old?
Yeah.
Or 22-year-old and a 32-year-old? It just seems like it's kind of a mixed thing. What do you have to say?
My thought is, to your question, are young people unruly? I think all people in any category can be unruly, because what I do like is the no children part, because there are many a times where you go out and kids are just either
They
throwing
ruin it.
food
Right.
or they're screaming, and the parents act like they're deaf, and they're just there to socialize with other parents, and it's just like it is an unpleasant experience for you. What I don't like about it, even though I would qualify as a person who could go, is it does seem like it's more social than food. And I'm of the mindset of, if I'm going to be social, I do it in more remote, intimate settings. I don't do it in something that's going to be smoke-filled, a smoke-filled room, or drinking.
Right.
So for me, unruliness can come in with alcohol. It doesn't have to
That's
be
true.
just children or
Yeah.
with young people, and then these people are going to be driving. So
Right.
I'm usually the one that's scoping out who's drinking, so I can make sure I'm gone before
Smart.
before they leave, because I want to be on the road with them, and restaurants are just trying to make money these days. They're not considering the responsible aspect, where it used to be, I think, where you had to be cut off after a certain whatever. But yeah, I don't like that now. The menus sound good. And from what I
The hookah,
understood,
you're saying?
No, menu.
Oh, menu. Okay, I
The
got you.
food, the lamb chops and the oxtails
Yeah,
and
that
the
does
Jamaican
sound
and all
good,
that.
yeah.
And then what they did say, because I saw the news thing, they were saying, oh, if you're underage, you can order like online and that kind
Pick
of
it up.
thing. Which, if I were to do something, it would be more that, because I don't want to go somewhere where it's hookah.
Yeah, I'm not that whole
and-
scene.
yeah,
I'm
it
not.
just
I'm not
doesn't-
even
it's
into
not
that whole
appealing
scene.
to me.
I'm not into a scene where it's going after certain clientele because they
Yeah.
want to. I just want to come in to eat.
Yeah.
I don't care who's sitting next to me or around me. I just want to come and eat. If it's that serious, then
Right.
I'm not looking for a whole event where
Right.
it's
Yeah,
35.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to, because I don't have problems when I go to Olive Garden and sit down and eat. When I go to the Golden
Chipotle,
Pancake
yeah,
Chipotle, I mean, there's
yeah.
people of all ages. I've never had an
Exactly.
issue
No
with
issue.
that type
Right.
thing.
Because that environment is not just a restaurant. It sounds like it's a club too.
Well, I think it's a restaurant. It's
It's not just that. They're not of them able to hook
Yeah, but it's
There's
mainly a
restaurants that have
restaurant.
hookah.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
restaurants.
There's restaurants that just that have hookah and all that.
Yeah, see, you are completely out of touch. That's what you've shown. But another point I was going to make is that you're right, because the babies in the movies, they are
Right.
so obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I agree with banning children for sure.
Banning children. Wow.
No, I mean like from like places like
Yeah.
movies and stuff. Like where, if you're like I feel like if you're if it's not like a G-rated movie, don't bring your kids.
Please don't.
You're going to change as
I mean,
life develops and you
Okay,
have
but
your
I
baby.
think- yes, but like
Living in Chicago,
in
you can't
all-
find a babysitter.
Okay, but like
and you got to
there's-
take your
there will
baby
be
to see
kids
Bad Boys
in all-
10 that's going to be coming out.
Right.
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but I mean, I feel like you wouldn't bring your baby to an R-rated movie anyway. Like,
Right.
why are they here? And so you hear
You'd be
them crying,
shocked.
It's crazy.
You would be
It's
shocked.
crazy,
You'd be
yeah.
shocked.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I agree, but and I saw this TikTok where these two older senior citizen white ladies were at the movie theater. The establishment kicked them out. The police showed up. They got belligerent. The police actually had to arrest them, throw them on the ground, and take them to jail. And so today,
Right, it could be anybody.
foolishness knows no age.
That's
I mean,
true.
you find
That's true.
old fools, young fools,
That's
middle-aged
true.
fools. And so, but I guarantee one thing: if this restaurant starts hurting for business, they gonna let
Yeah.
everybody in. I don't care what age you are, 20,
Right.
10.
Right. That's
They
right.
they'll have a slip and slide set up on it. The Wiggles are gonna come and do a concert, But
Yeah, you're right.
it's now you can be all choosy and stuff like that.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think that generations should do more to kind of be less cut
Bridge
off
the
from.
gap.
you know.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so too. I think it would have been better if they had done it that way. Maybe 21 and older, if it's going to be all that other stuff
Yeah,
that's in
18.
there.
I can see not wanting
But
maybe. Yeah.
30, like it just seems odd. Like
Seems
it's just
odd.
a random, and then 35. It's almost like going
such
to
a small
somebody's
city.
house and they've
Yeah.
invited, the woman invites her single friends and the man invite his single friends, and it's like
Why
a
does it gotta be
hookup thing.
35 for a man but 30 for a woman?
I don't know.
That's
well,
kind of crazy.
I don't know. Maybe because they, that's what I was
No,
thinking.
that's
I
what
was
they
gonna
say.
I was gonna say maybe
That's what they
because of
say.
the thought that that's the case, but
But
again,
but speaking as the most mature person in this room,
you have no pushback.
I can
from
say,
me.
I can say, okay. But that's true, Evangelist.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's weird because you
It
go
was just
send a
random
34-year-old man home. Like you can't.
Yeah, right. I mean, that is
Wait
weird.
till your next birthday.
You're too young. Meanwhile, he has gray hair, and I'm like, you
Right.
too young, dog.
Try again next year.
Yeah. Man, I got to wait for my birthday.
Yeah.
But it's funny being, seeing the hallmark age, because when the first one is 16,
Mm-hmm.
you get your driver's license. 18, you can vote and you're legally adult. 21, you are able to do things that you couldn't do under 21. Then there's 24, where I think you can start to rent cars and stuff like
25.
25, right? So there are all these little benchmarks,
Right.
But I think at the time, a certain time, you get to 22, 20. I mean, technically, some 18-year-old young people are living and taking care of themselves.
That's
so,
true. That's true.
it's like, and then too, I mean, if you can be drafted and go to war, then you can't rent a car and stuff like that.
Right.
It's dumb.
That's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
You can buy a gun. At
Yeah, you buy a
18.
gun,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you can buy
should. You can be a
everything.
police officer at 18. You can join the military at 17.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's stupid.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really push back adulthood to a level that it shouldn't be pushed back to,
That's
especially
true.
considering generations came before us.
Yes.
Where to be 13 right now, if we were in Bible days, Eric Jr., you'd have about 5 kids, maybe 3 or 4 wives. You'd have about 12 different vineyards and farms, and I mean,
That's
you would be
true.
a whole grown man, But we pushed everything back so
Right,
late,
right.
and I think it's caused a lot of
It's
problems.
weird.
It is weird. So okay, I got another story dealing.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep that same theme of dealing with some of the woes of our younger population. The last kid in 9th grade without an iPhone. This story really tickled me. It's a story about a young lady who her parents would not let her have a phone. And nowadays we say you have got to have a phone. I can't imagine not having a phone. Anyway, they're not in the group chat, but they're not social pariahs either. Greta always knew she would have to face her first year of high school without a phone. Her parents made their stance clear back when she was in elementary school, then banded together with a handful of other families in the neighborhood to stand firm. Let me pause right there. Do you think it's realistic for parents to say that their high school students cannot have phones based upon some arbitrary stance?
No, it's not realistic.
Yeah, I don't think it's realistic because even if they don't have the phone, they still have access to all of the stuff at school, or school is giving them or putting everything so technological, so it's online. So they still have access to everything they would on the phone. It's just not, they just can't. Well, if they have an iPad or something like that, they can still make calls and that kind of thing. Or you can have social sites. I don't think what's that, WhatsApp or anything like that is real big anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's totally unrealistic.
I feel like if you don't give them an iPad to make calls, you might as well just give them a phone. Like I don't see the difference. I don't get their stance of like, I'll let them like use the computer at school. I'll let them use an iPad at school so they can do all that stuff at school. But then when they come home,
the parents were like, it's a principle thing. We want our kid not wrapped up in social media. We don't want them to, judge themselves by social media standards. We want to raise well-rounded kids that don't have this. I think it's more of the daydreams of the parents as opposed to what's really going to help the child, because I can't see nowadays not having a cell phone and not even letting your young person have a cell phone. It just seems completely arbitrary, and you're almost making your son or daughter an outlier if they don't have one. Now, it's different if you can't afford a phone.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you can afford one and a group of parents are banding together saying, we don't want a phone, we don't want them to have a phone, that just seems kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it seems like this setting the children up for a disadvantage, because even in college, they make you have certain accounts to upload or to do certain things. And if they don't even have that experience, that's going to create an obstacle for them. So I just don't see it as realistic in today's society.
Right. And it seems like, I get the whole idea of wanting to shield your kids from the dangers of a cell phone. But I think you also have to factor in it's almost better to teach your kids how to manage these things, because you can't shield them from everything as opposed to teaching them how to manage these things. Because at some point they're going to get them, and if they don't know how to manage their time with a cell phone, they're going to be in bad shape.
That's true. That's true. But I think that's a touchy subject too, because I don't think a lot of people want to teach them that. Well, let me say this. I think a lot of times we expect people to just know what the parameters should be. And that's just
what do you mean? Speak on that a little bit.
So if these children don't have phones, and then if they were to get phones, say that the parents decided to give them phones, but they don't have any parameters, or they're not coached on what it is that's appropriate and inappropriate, then they're just going to click on everything and get caught up. It's just like getting a new toy. You just stay up and you play on it. You discover all these things about it. So they don't have this foreknowledge of it. So they have to be taught. Even with like an iPhone, they used to give you those little booklets to show you all the stuff it does. Now you got to go online to find all the little tricks and to know all of those kinds of things. So it then becomes a responsibility of the parents to teach the kids that. And if these parents aren't open to even their kids having phones, they probably don't know.
I don't think a parent needs to teach a kid anymore cell phones. I think they're so, once you open it, I think it's pretty.
But I mean, like with the sites and things like that.
I think, again, most of the sites that they're on, the parents have no idea what sites.
That's what I mean. They don't know. So
the parents don't know, though.
Right.
So like Snapchat, the kids are telling each other,
That's true.
They know more about kind of where to go than you're the parent. Now
true.
you grew up with a cell phone. How was it? Was it? Do you consider it dangerous?
No, I got. Well, I mean, I didn't have I got a cell phone in middle school.
I regret that decision to this day
And then I think
because you don't answer my text. You don't answer your mother's text. We send you text. You leave us on red. What's up with that? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I think it's necessary, for sure, for kids to have phones. Like their own form of personal technology, especially now, like working at a tech company and seeing like the trends and things that are happening. Like if you don't have if you don't know how to use technology from an early age, you're not gonna be able to get a job. Like AI, all that stuff, that's all they talk about is like AI and things like that. So if you don't know how to use that stuff, like you're not gonna be able to get a job. So having a phone where you're at home now, Apple has like their own Apple Intelligence or whatever, and there's all this.
That's
other
the new
stuff.
thing you just hear.
So if you're not able to like learn this stuff on your own time and like be like familiar with it off the back of your hand, you're just gonna like you're gonna go to college and not know how to. You're gonna one you're gonna look weird. And then two, it's like
you need to look where the Bible says we are peculiar people.
Yes,
Pushing them.
yes, but that is. I feel like there's exceptions.
That's different.
Peculiar, not weird, huh?
That's
there is a difference.
That's just strange.
Yeah.
And so like you're gonna need to know. I think from an early age, as like technology keeps going, how to use it. And so if your first time figuring out how to use a iPhone is at 16 years old, it's gonna be kind of
Behind the curve.
Yeah.
Now, Eric Jr., we as we learned last week, you are a minister here, and you're actually helping to teach a class, a Sunday school class, called Every Young Man's Every Young Man's Battle, that deals with, and in fact, your significant others teach in the same course for the young ladies with her grandmother. How awkward must that be, right? I mean, talk about sex in front of your grandmother. Whose idea was that? I don't know. I wouldn't show up. I would not show up to class, right? But anyway, so you're teaching this class, Every Young Man's Battle, that deals with pornography and stuff like that. How much of temptation is having a phone? Or what would your advice be to, let's say you are 16, 15, and how can parents help young people take phones and not get into, something that's going to mess them up?
I mean,
it's real talk.
It's kind of just like it really is just like a lot of prayer, I think. Because
No.
what?
Say prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you wasn't praying at 15.
No, I'm saying like, and I was, but then also like on the part of the parents.
Yeah.
Because if your kid isn't accessing it on their own, there's people at school who
That's
will
true.
just show random stuff.
That's true.
And they'll just do random stuff. So like you're gonna be exposed to something. So just like I think helping your kids at a young age too, like having those talks at a young age about how to like guard yourself. So like when they actually start to grow up a little bit, they can understand like what like the significance of this and like why they shouldn't, like they can't like go down that path.
That's a good point.
And so like I think that that's an important thing, because like even if you have a phone and you're not accessing stuff on your own, there's other people around
We can
you
show
That's
it to you,
true.
right?
whatever
Absolutely.
do whatever they want. And because like I mean, I think I was in like 5th grade. One of my friends, he bought like a whole Playboy to school. So it's
A whole Playboy?
Yeah.
Half on a whole. You don't name names. What's wrong with you? Get out the studio. You'll get us sued. There you go ahead.
yeah. So one of my friends bought a Playboy to
Nameless
school.
friends.
Yeah. And so like it's just certain stuff like you have to really like teach your kids early and like teach them, and then like put in the proper restrictions and things like that. So like if you get a phone, you can still like put restriction
That's
access
true.
on
That's
it
true.
right now. So like I mean, but I mean it's really something where also like it's going to get to a point where you have to like have your own ways, your own willpower
Right.
in order to not do things.
That's absolutely true.
When you get
That's-
to college
right.
and you have like your own
Total
laptop,
access,
your own
yeah.
thing, like,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want at that point.
Yeah.
So you have to have your own like, you
Right.
know. So.
Camille, what do you think? Come on up here on camera. Tell me what you think about how this whole thing should work. Huh? Go this way. Go this way. Yeah, this way. I don't have a mic over here. Yeah. Scoot over just a little bit, Roscoe.
Go this way.
Yeah. So you're the other half of this. Step forward so you can be seen on camera. You're the other half of this. Thank you. All right. You're the other half of this. Bring that little stool up here for her. Cause bring that one up here. You're the other half of this Sunday school. I was talking about the Sunday school class. What do you think in terms of helping young people navigate some of the temptations? Sit down, son. The temptations of social media, what they see on their phones. How do young people stay strong in the midst of all this stuff?
If I speak right here, can I?
Yeah, you just come scoot up. Ross, you scoot up too.
I'll just stand. I'm a little short. I think for me, it was my mom sharing her personal experiences. I was a very wild child, and I had locks on like all of my social media, and I had to turn my phone in at a certain time of like the night up until high school.
Wow.
And there was a certain point where like I didn't have a phone for like a year, and like I wasn't able to come to church. But I think with my mom like sharing her personal experiences with like what happened to her, even though it didn't involve social media, a lot of what happens to people now does involve social media. So like people are meeting people online that they don't
Sure.
know, and they're talking to people through chat rooms. So I think with my mom just telling me just her overall experience, how it made her feel and how it impacted her, I think that kind of helped me to, like now in my adult life, like guide myself through the use of social media and just other technology.
That's a great point because what I like about that is it shows that everyone's story is different. And so there's not a one size fits all approach where in this whole conversation, we've been speaking as though, you know, kids or young people, this, young people, that. But there may be instances where a specific young person should not have access to a mobile device during a certain time in their life because X, Y, and Z. And we have to make allotment for that because it can do something to their mental health, or it can do something where if they're not ready for something, it can exacerbate that issue. You know? Was having a phone now that you obviously you have do you still turn your phone in a certain time?
No.
Okay, so now you have your phone. Does your phone? How do you manage the temptation of your phone now?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I mean, since I'm a lot older, I like, of course, like scrolling on like social media and stuff like that. But I think it takes a lot of like willpower and like you have to desire to not want to be on your phone. Because like I'm still working on that. Like I'm on my phone to be on my phone. But I think that's also because like I did have that restriction. Like I couldn't be on my phone. I couldn't have social media. I couldn't text my friends until I was in like middle school. So
Wow.
like, yeah, I think it just depends.
That's good. Give Camille a hand in front as well. Thank you, Camille. So what do you think about that, Evangelist Courtney?
I think that's good. I have the same mindset of sharing my experiences. As you probably remember, I have 17 nieces and nephews,
Wow.
and I'm very open with them about the things that I went through and the journey and the foolishness. Like, I don't edit it. I tell it like, well, I edited in that before I was saved, I was a heavy cusser.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I cussed all the time. I probably cuss more than I use English words. But anyway, so, I mean, outside of that, I just share it with them as raw as it is. And they're like, you did that, TT Courtney, or you? And to me, it's very interesting that they even find relevance in it, or it's something that they can use, because a lot of my nieces and nephews are young adult age now. And they'll tell me about something that I shared with them that helped them. And so I'm glad that my goal in doing that was my aunts were so much older than me, like traditional type. When I was a teenager, they were maybe 40 or 50. There was no sitting down and having dialogue with them. You know, it was stay in a kid's place and that kind of thing. And I just felt like, well, you all have lived life. It probably would be helpful for you all to tell me, but it was just so, the generation in my family, they don't share things. Like even if they're sick, they don't tell you until after they're not sick anymore. And so I didn't want to be that type of aunt. I wanted to be the type of aunt that could relate to them and could let them know that even though I'm an adult, there's still things that could be helpful that I've already dealt with. Because I always like being around older people when I was younger because they have lived life already. People that were my age, I didn't really hang around a lot because we're trying to navigate this together. Like, you can't really help me type thing. So I think that that's very helpful. But like Camille said, it wasn't high social media. Like when you talked about it, I thought back to, I was probably 18 when I first got a pager. By that time, the two-way was out. Yeah. Do you know what a pager?
You know the pager is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you a pager.
You. It's usually a number that comes across.
Right.
You have to call them back. Like
Unless they
can't
say
leave a
911.
message. 911, or it was different codings and things like that. But that's what it was. So when I turned 18, I had one. I was so happy. Like, boy, I got some technology.
But you still had to find a payphone.
Still had to find a
right,
payphone,
right.
and those were going extinct. You get to one and it be cut or something like that. And then, like I said, the two-way came out. I never had one of those. But, you know, so I was always slow with technology because I'm never into whatever is the current thing because it needs to be worked on. Like if it's brand new, there's no data to know what works, what doesn't work, that kind of thing. So I'm delayed in that part. But I think technology is very pivotal today, even in workforce, as you had mentioned earlier.
Right.
So
I remember my first access or experience with pornography was when I was maybe 10, and it came, a family member showed me a VHS tape. And I remember thinking, knowing that this was
Something's
wrong, something's off. But I remember that whole, and as you were talking about the friend that brought the magazine, that brought that memory back to my mind. But it's something where a lot of times it's not the devil that is
On the
further
outside.
away or far away or
Absolutely
technology.
true.
It's the one that's close. And so you have to really be, while you're doing all this stuff and no phones and stuff like that, the enemy is going to find a way in. He's going to find access. And so even after you're done saying no phones, no this, no that, going back to something you said, you still have to build within that person a sense of ability to pray, right and wrong, knowledge of God. So not if the devil gets in, but when he gets in, there's something on the inside of you where it doesn't mess you up, because you're not going to be preserved from every foul thing. The devil's going to find a way to put this stuff in front of your kids. And let's be honest, I mean, it doesn't stop at young people. It carries on all through life, you know.
Yes, it does.
And you have to be able to manage stuff, because the devil's going to find a way to put it in front of your face.
That's true. And the unfortunate thing is, you can't erase an image from your head. Like you could try to ignore it, but images, they're just there. Like I don't know about anybody else, but things that I remember seeing in my childhood, good or bad, the image of it, like I can see the whole scene of it there. But the point that you made that I thought was very good is not the enemy that you don't know. It's the one that's on the inside. And that's true too. So in my household, growing up as a kid, in a transparent way, my mom had a collection of VHSs, and her rule was, don't touch these, don't look at these. Well, anybody, human nature, when you say don't touch, don't look at it, we wait till she go, you on the lookout, she gone, and then it's, what is that? Why is she watching? You know, that, and it was just very shocking. And we were little kids, probably under the age of 10 when we saw that. And that led down a whole path of other things, but also putting people, making people aware what to look out for. I remember just like it was yesterday, we left church on a Sunday, and God just put all the pieces together. And I was thinking as I drove, in my family down throughout the years, there had always been an attack of perversion, pornography or something like that. I remember my grandmother talking about it. I remember my mom talking about it, my older sisters, because there's a 10, 15, and 17-year age gap there. Then my nieces, who are also my sisters as well, having various ones of them talk about it. And I remember telling my nieces that on the way home, the devil is going to try you in this area because he's tried everyone in every generation of our family in this area. Don't just be on the lookout for people on the outside. Be on the lookout for people on the inside, because it was always someone that was trusted that tried something,
right,
or that the violation came through. And I remember telling them that, like, be alert, be aware. And it seemed very raw at the time because, again, I didn't hold back. You know, it's going to be pornography, it's going to be molestation, or it's going to be homosexuality. Any type of sexual perversion is how the devil is going to try to come at you. So then when life started going on, I asked him, do you remember that conversation we had? Yeah. So you were fully aware. So you can't say you were caught off guard or you didn't know. You were told to be on the lookout. And again, it goes back to whatever your desire is. If it's something that you're going to take heed to or not. I mean, the Bible is repeat with so many different things that we need to take heed of. Doesn't mean we always do, but you have the information there. So
right. What does someone who you have friends at college, you do, Camille. What does someone who is, now I think that pornography and sexual strongholds are very destructive to the mind of somebody, even
Yes.
more so than some of the other strongholds. What do you notice among friends who are overly addicted or stimulated to pornography or things like that? What's the telltale signs?
Man, I'm not sure about my own friend group of people I hang out with, but like I think the one of the things that you can tell is like a lot of times, I just seen TikToks and people talk about like the ways that you can tell. A lot of times it's like people who are like overly sexual, so like people who are like always like that's all they talk about, and like in the sense that like they're always like finding jokes and things, and then also like people are just awkward around like when it comes to, like human interaction. It's like people are like just really awkward, especially like with the opposite sex, a lot of that stuff, and then people who are like, I don't know, I think a lot of times like people like that, like it's not like they'll keep to themselves, because I don't really think that that's a good way to measure it anymore, because I think like it's so accessible. I don't really think like people are really keeping to themselves, but like I don't know, like it's just certain things you can tell, like a lot of times like lower self-esteem, things like that, like and then like a lot of insecurity around sex as well. So
That's a good point. I don't know if there are any signs. I think sometimes there are monsters that hide in plain sight, or people that are struggling that hide in plain. I mean, we're dealing with even an election cycle where, you know, you have one of the candidates who has faced sexual assault charges and stuff like that, and I don't know if there's any way that people can necessarily. I was shocked this week, and I'm not going to really get into it because there's nothing to say at this point. But you know, one of the people I looked up to a great deal, Tony Evans. You know, he decided this week that he would step down from his church because of he just said unnamed sin. You know, who knows what it is? There's no way of telling what it is, but. The fact that you have other cases where people who have been in public eye, be their president, business, churches, clergy, that have kind of fallen prey to this whole, and we see it in the Bible from, you know, Solomon, who was the wisest man, but, you know, all that stuff. I don't think there's ever an age, and we're coming in on Father's Day weekend. I don't think there's ever an age where we can let our guards down to sexual sins and perversion. It's one of them things where, you know, we really have to sanctify, purify ourselves, because if not, then it's something that, you know, could really derail a life and throw things away.
I think you hit it on the head though, with people who are like a telltale sign, speaking from someone who is now delivered from hypersexuality. That was a thing, finding. Okay. That I didn't expect that.
So let me ask you, what was hypersexuality like? Not getting too graphic, what was hypersexuality like in your instance from a female perspective growing up? How did that manifest? What did that?
Everything and every conversation, I mean, he hit it on the head, whether he knows it or not, was about finding sexuality in everything. You could be talking about food and it becomes sexual. You could be talking about school, it becomes sexual. And it's quote unquote disguised as, it's a joke, or it's a dual meaning type of thing. But I think some of the telltale signs of someone who is dealing with things like that is like it's a dominance when it doesn't need to be, or they're dominating, or they don't deal well with anger. They're easily agitated, and rejection is a big one. If they're rejected, it's like this, I gotta conquer this ground and those types of things. And that's just from my own experience in being that, because that's how I was raised and nurtured in that. Like sexuality was a weapon, but it was a form of power of whatever, over whoever or whenever, just being overly whatever, kind of thing. And so that's what it was. Everything was sexualized. Everything. I mean, the simplest things.
From like how young were you when this was happening?
I was raised up like that around the women in my family,
would you
but
consider
the
yourself
first
sexualized
time,
in elementary school?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I think, and not to gloat or anything, but by the age of 12, like I was well versed in that world of how to talk, and even like when it was men saying something and then looking to see if they got what I was saying, and always seeing them being like, how old are you? Type of thing, because again, that's how I was raised. And I don't think it was something that was directly done, but again, like I said, I liked being around older people. I have sisters that's older. My mom was 35 when she had me, so that was considered older. So being around, hiding when she's talking to friends, or if older people come around wanting to be, what are you talking about? Why can't we be around? Always wanting to be a part of. So some of it was me being sneaky and finding out stuff and being privy to stuff that I should not have been privy to, but just being brought up like that.
Back in the day, we used to call that fast.
Fast.
The
Oh,
girl's
yeah.
fast.
All the time. Well, they
was
said
there
fast
equivalent?
tail.
Yeah.
Your fast
was there equivalent
tail.
to a guy that was
Mannish.
fast? Mannish?
They called them mannish.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Men seem to escape the name, but that's something. So that's in elementary school, kids are actually being exposed and being sexualized. And sometimes it's a coalescing of stuff from the kids who are curiously seeking stuff. But I can't tell you how many times, parents will dress kids in inappropriate, provocative things.
Very much so. Vicariously living through them, or if I had that shape, and I've heard parents say it even in my own family, if I had that shape, I would have wore this, so I would. And back to what you were saying, 40 wishing they were still 20, or well, you got it, girl, show it. You looking good. Like inappropriate things that other women, let alone men, should not be saying to young girls, and it's just the norm.
Yeah, for sure.
Eric Jr., how do you think? Do you think you're going to be able to be a father? Do you think you're going to be a good father? Do you think?
I have not thought about that.
You better. It's coming soon, son.
I'm just
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Do you have what it takes to be a good father?
I have no idea.
I still don't think about it, son. That's the thing. I'm with you.
Oh,
I
Pastor.
still don't think about it.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know what I'm gonna be like a couple years from now. I don't know.
Do
I mean,
you-
right now I couldn't be a dad. No.
Oh, it's good.
So,
That's
Do you?
honest.
What type of father do you want to be?
I want to be like, I want to be a father who my kids trust me.
What
So
you
like
mean?
mainly that. Like I want.
You won't go in their room, take their money, take their.
No.
You're not gonna go. You're not gonna eat up their.
Pizza rolls.
Yes.
No, I want to be a father who is like, I guess that I can they can feel comfortable telling me stuff because I don't just like hear something, being like discipline them over it, like actually being able to talk to them about stuff and then share my own experiences about stuff. That's mainly what I want. And then like I want to be able to I don't know. I want to be someone that they can see as not like a friend, obviously, but like a friend in the sense that like you can talk to me about anything. So like I'm that type of dad.
Yeah. Let me say this though, huh?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
No, I don't want to be like authoritarian or anything. No.
So you want to be okay. I get it. Well, I will say this though. You're 21, and I get it. I mean, you're not. Your mind right now is on a lot of other stuff than fatherhood, and obviously you're not married. Are you married?
No.
You're not married.
No, I'm
You
not.
engaged?
No.
Breaking news.
Oh wow.
And I know there's still time, but I would say even though there is a time that it's always good to think about, because it's one of those things where, you know, being it is Father's Day weekend. Being a father is probably one of the greatest things you'll do in life and your greatest form of judgment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I think we get a lot of stuff mixed up where,
Yeah.
you know,
Title position.
Yeah. Our judgment really will be the things that our husband, our spouse, wife, husband, parent, you know, all this stuff. And then, like for me, even I'm a pastor, but pastor is probably number 3 in my whole judgment thing.
Right.
Not number 1, like some people would assume,
say it would be. Right.
And so it's something that's worthwhile. You know, it's very substantial. And then not judgment. It sounds so terrible. Judgment. Boom. But it also is is source of great blessing too.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I
mean, I guess I thought about it a little bit. Like I was like, I want a daughter. So
Want a daughter?
Yeah.
You want a daughter?
Oh, you gonna be a girl dad?
He would be
'cause
such a
I-
precious
it was
father.
She name your daughter Marie Jr.
No. No.
What you gonna name your little girl?
No, it was because of Kobe. So like
Kobe,
I
that's
want
good.
to have like a
Okay.
I want to coach women's basketball.
That's good.
Oh,
That's good.
okay.
Now,
That's
do you want to
beautiful.
coach women's basketball for the right reason, son?
Yes.
What kind of question is that?
What kind of question is that?
He's like, yes, of
No,
course.
Camille, do you have anything to say about it? You want to chime on
Well,
that up?
I'm gonna be coaching. I'm not gonna coach college. I'm gonna coach
Okay,
children.
that's
so
fine.
That's
That's
not
fine.
even in the question.
Because
Yeah.
you know you got all these. What's that girl's name?
Angel Reese.
Angel
Oh, yeah,
Reese. You know. Okay.
Asia
Camille
Wilson.
said, "I'm not bothered." That's right, Camille.
Cameron
good.
Brink.
Yeah.
Asia Wilson.
That's good. So you
Sabrina
want to be
Nesco.
well, you know what? You've never heard this before, son. But since this room does something with
Yes.
honesty
Yeah.
It really
and
does.
truth, and it brings out when you were born. In fact, you can ask your mother this. I always wanted a daughter. And in fact, that name picked out for her. What was her name? Bee. Right.
crazy.
So I always thought I was gonna have what?
BEE for the actual name or the nickname?
No, the actual name.
Okay.
B Battle. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that strange to you?
That's
Yes.
old. That's an old name.
That's I thought of the old
It's a
lady from
tough
the Golden
crowd.
Girls. B.
No, that's
Arthur or something.
BEA.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
now calm down.
Yes, sir.
I hope you don't deal with homeless people like this. You know. So, let me finish the story. So I thought I was gonna have a daughter, and then your mother took a paternity test.
Right.
Found out I wasn't even the father.
Oh wow! I knew that was coming.
No. It turned out you were. Come on up, First Lady. Come on up. You were a guy, and I'm glad that God knew your sex a baby, that you were a son, because it's good to have a son too. But I'm just saying that because I was in your same shoes. I want to be.
Oh.
So you're that's good. I mean, fatherhood is something that, again, the judgment thing, and it's not just a judgment; it's also a source of great blessing.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for parents that don't have a relationship with their kids.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're missing. And it's kind of like some of these athletes that kids have gone on to do great things. And you mentioned Kobe. He had a tragic story, didn't he?
Yeah. Like he wasn't close with his parents after.
What happened with his parents?
Just like they were mad because he married
Married
someone
them,
who wasn't
yeah.
black, which
Yeah.
I think is weird, and they were mad over that. And then they wanted
Oh my gosh.
What happened? I didn't
Just
catch that.
keep talking,
Okay.
son.
back to what I was
Keep
saying.
talking.
Back to what I
God.
was saying. They were mad because he married someone who wasn't black. Vanessa.
What is
she's-
Vanessa?
She's a Latina.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Person of color.
yeah, she's not white. She's Latina.
Even if she was white.
Yeah,
Hey,
and it wouldn't matter either way. But that's who.
You're their
That's
first
weird.
lady?
That's weird. Because didn't Kobe come to St. Louis or United States when he was like 17 and he couldn't speak English because he had been in Italy all
He
those
used
years?
to live in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his dad played pro there, and
Yeah,
then he moved to
okay.
Philadelphia. He went to Lower
That
Merion.
explains his son.
Yeah.
He was in Philadelphia. Go ahead.
He went to Lower Merion. He played high school, and then he went right to the pros. But his parents were mad about that, and so then they tried to sell. They made up, and then they wanted money
That's
from him.
horrible.
And
They
tried
made
to
up for
sell-
money.
and then they tried to sell some of his stuff.
They tried to
and so
sell
he
his
just
memorabilia.
He just cut them off completely.
They didn't even show up to his last game.
Yeah.
They missed a lot of his milestone, and now obviously he's passed away. That is so messed up.
that is-
I mean, how
yeah.
to disown your child for any reason
Yes.
just seems absolutely
Far-fetched,
shady
yeah.
because you don't get time back. I'm a firm believer that families, and I know that things come that tax and stress families, but we're too quick to disown
Right.
one another
Right.
when, especially those of us who are Christians,
Right.
we should really strive to be
You're right.
in each other's lives. And sometimes you have to do it from a distance.
That's true.
But to just be okay
Just- yeah.
with people leaving your life and not being part of your life,
Yeah.
that's not good.
That's not. Something similar happened to Shaq, didn't he? I remember he was going to do his little rapping career. He had a song out, Bill is his father, because his biological didn't bother.
Oh, maybe. I mean, a lot of NBA players they don't know their fathers.
Yeah. They got big and then he
Which
wanted money.
NBA player has a good relationship with their dad?
I mean, there's a ton of them. Like, there's a Kyrie. Like, there's
Yeah,
a ton of them.
yeah.
There's a ton of them. It's just there's also a lot who don't because you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
My son, he goes out saying, if you ever made it, if you had made it to NBA, we'd have a great relationship. Have a great relationship, son. All right, speaking of the NBA, check this out. Check this out.
Finals, NBA Finals.
No, not finals,
Oh.
but close. I'm sorry. This is sad. Ex-NBA player Delonte West arrested after collapsing while fleeing cops, reports. Police trying to save Delonte West, served with a warrant for violating the terms of his release, instead had to chase him down and administer Narcan for a suspected overdose. Here's the, do you know him?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this former NBA point guard Delonte West. This really highlights mental illness and mental health. West suffered a medical emergency as he was attempting to evade Virginia police trying to serve him a warrant early Tuesday. According to the report, he reportedly collapsed and was discovered by officers, hospitalized, and later arrested on misdemeanor charges of violating the conditions of his release and arrest. West, 40, took off as officers with the Fairfax County Police Department approached him, according to TMZ Sports. The tabloid reported that officers pursued him on foot, losing sight of him briefly, only to find him unresponsive shortly after. Narcan was administered by officers, the department told TMZ in a statement, but it did not have the desired effect. He was transported to a local hospital, and Narcan was administered. Again, he was really messed up, which yielded the desired effects. West was released from the hospital and transported to Fairfax County Detention Center. He remained in custody as of Thursday afternoon, according to online records. He's scheduled to be arraigned in court Friday morning. Listen, West last played for the Dallas Mavericks in 2012. Over 8 seasons in the NBA. He also played with the Boston Celtics, Seattle Supersonics, Cleveland Cavs. He averaged 9.7 points. Here's the thing. Now, those who follow sports know that NBA Finals, which is taking place right. Is there a game tonight?
It's happening right now. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. NBA Finals is taking place tonight between the Mavericks and the Celtics, teams he both played
Right.
for. I mean, he made it to an elite level, but because of and it doesn't get into what led to drugs in his life, but as I said, mental illness. It is such a. It's one thing to help and teach people how to achieve goals, but are we really teaching them how to keep it once they achieve it?
I think for like Delonte West, because he played on the Cavs with LeBron and Larry Hughes.
Why he
and,
played with LeBron?
Yeah, that's who he was most known was on the Cavs.
Did we see him?
No,
Okay.
he was out. He left the league a long time ago. But he played in. He used to play with LeBron, and playing with LeBron, there's a lot that comes with it. So I interviewed Larry Hughes, who played for them, who's from St. Louis. I talked to him, and he was like, it was cool, playing, but obviously there's more tension in the locker room, things like that. So while he was there, because he played with both of them, there's obviously more attention. But for Delonte West, the reason why some NBA fans think LeBron left Cleveland, because he was already going to leave because they were bad. But the reason why they thought he left the first time is because Delonte West was messing with his mom. And even if
Delonte West was messing with LeBron's mom?
No, that's not confirmed, but that's what a lot of the rumors that were going around is that's part of the reason why he left. But even if that's not what happened, those were still the rumors that were going on at the time. So it's like that's a lot mentally for someone to deal with. So I think that added on to some other stuff, obviously. And because he's been going in and out of rehab for a couple of years now. This isn't new. There was like a video a couple of years ago that came out. He was homeless, and then they bought him. The Dallas Mavericks owner paid for him to go to rehab.
Wow.
And he was like starting to turn it around. I guess he fell off again, but
This is something that is not politically correct to say, and people typically don't say or don't want to hear in the church, but it's one of the things that, again, this Father's Day weekend that has to be said and people have to hear, and it's that, life requires strength. It requires strength of mind, strength of emotions, and without it, there can be no lasting success because there's so many things that come against you and come upon you, and it's not necessarily the talent or the skill. And these are people outside of the church, but even with the church, with God, with the Holy Spirit. One of my favorite verses: "Be strong and very courageous." Mental fortitude and emotional fortitude. Without it, you will be a victim of life.
That's true.
So, I think that one of our main prayers for each other is asking God to give us strength, because without it, it's life. This poor guy. I mean, if I could see, I had no idea about the locker room and LeBron and stuff like that. And LeBron is certainly a type A personality. Yeah. And I can imagine the type of pressure he would put on his teammates.
I don't even know, because it's not even LeBron, it's the media around LeBron. Because during that time, he was playing really well. It's just the team around him wasn't good. So it's the media who's like, LeBron's doing everything else, everybody else is terrible. And so that's kind of the difference being in sports, especially now. I think the average person is like, oh, I could handle that because I've been through worse. I've been through this. You're getting millions to play basketball, but it's a different type of thing you have to deal with because you're in the public eye, and so you're waking up seeing them talking about you on national television, talking about how bad you are, how you're not good enough to play with LeBron, stuff like that. So it's like that type of stuff. It's like being a pro athlete. I feel like it's a lot of mental weight that not a lot of people. Because I remember a couple years ago, like Tyrell Terry, he retired. He was really young. He played for the Mavericks too. He had got drafted. And then he retired because of mental health stuff. Right. And so it's like that. It's like I think the average person, you really need a special type of strength to be able to play in the NBA, because I don't think the average person could be able to do that.
Let me tell you, but you know, here's a funny thing too, is that, and that's true, I believe that with the NBA, NFL, all the major league sports, but I would say the same is even true for a mailman, a teacher, a pastor,
Yeah, that's for
mother,
all
father.
professions, yeah.
Anything nowadays, in other words, when your grandfather was your age and
Yeah.
life was back in 19, I think he grew up like in 1820s. back when he, you know, during that age, life was so simple.
Yeah.
Everything nowadays is
complex
to
and
10 in
complicated.
terms of being a student. I didn't have to deal with what
Right.
you had to deal with being
Yeah.
a student. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't get beat until report cards came out. There was no, I'm checking on the, you know, you got a D, this is not turned in. I gotta text.
Yeah, you're
there was no portal. The
Yeah.
only portal was
Yeah.
when that grade came
That was
on.
crazy,
That's
They
true.
couldn't check portals,
That's
right?
true.
Crazy, yeah.
And so everything was easier to do anything now. Only thing that's only thing that the enemy in life has made easy nowadays is to not do anything or to be
Yeah.
destructive.
Yeah.
Now, to do anything constructive or positive, you are swimming upstream.
Yeah.
And it takes an inordinate amount of strength, energy, tenacity to be able to contend with the current.
Yeah.
And so many, and the tragedy is you're swimming upstream. You see folks just drifting downstream.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah, I think every profession requires a certain amount of things. Because I have a friend, she is a forensic science major, and so she had an internship at like a forensic lab, and so she went out and she was seeing dead bodies
Wow.
like every day, and she was just like, she would just be at, because we worked together, she would just be at work like, yeah, that's just what it was, and she just like just didn't care. And it's because it's like, I mean, that fits who she is. Like, you need a certain type of strength to do every job. So, like, even if you're a lawyer, you're a police officer, you know, there's a lot of police officers who aren't mentally strong enough who still do it. But, like,
That's true.
if to be
That's
a
sad.
good police officer,
Yeah.
like, even to be like a teacher, to be all those things, engineer, software developer, all those jobs require a certain type of, you know, skill set, and then also like a certain type of patience. You know, working, even doing what I do at Worldwide, like marketing and stuff like that, video editing, data analytics, like it takes so much patience, and like, because you'll send something in, you have to do it all over, your edit will get deleted. It takes a lot. So I think that every job requires,
Yes,
you know, a
absolutely.
certain type of person. to do
Right,
it.
being a mother, being a
Oh,
saint,
yes.
you know, and like I said, anything nowadays, it's going to take all of you to be that. And there's a quote, I forget who says it, but it says, "Mental health may not, your mental illness may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility." And at the end of the day, you know, life presents us this choice, and we are going to rise to the occasion to whatever we need to do and do it, or we are not. And the thing about being an adult is that life is okay with you not being anything, or
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
not being anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's true.
it's not only okay, but to be a man of color, woman of color, it's expected. It's the easiest thing in the world for us to wash out, because
Yes.
expectations is that we are not going to amount to anything anyway.
Right.
But at some point we ask ourselves, is that really what I want? Do I really want a
Yeah.
life where I'm just another statistic?
Right.
And it takes so much press to get to that point. I look at where my father's at, and you know, he's living he's right now, as we tape this episode, he is in his RV barreling down the highway, going somewhere with Denise hanging out the back, you know. I'm talking about
Right.
full National Lampoon's Vacation. So he lives a very good life. You know him. He eats well. He has friends. You know Bishop. He's Bishop.
Yeah.
He's a hippie. But to get to his level, to get to his life, it wasn't easy.
No.
And a lot of times you can look at where he ended up, but you have to say, okay, there's dues
The
that had to be
road.
paid, and you know, it was not a easy cakewalk. It took much blood, sweat, and tears, and I was responsible for a lot of those tears.
For sure.
He say for sure.
Any final thoughts on parenthood, on fatherhood, on some of these articles I didn't get to, like this one. It says the forgotten racial history of Red Lobster. Remember we talked about Red Lobster? I did not know that Red Lobster, number one, look at this. It has a black CEO. When a time after Jim Crow, where other restaurants were not welcoming to black folks, Red Lobster always was. Red Lobster put black people in its ad campaigns. There's a reason why black folks developed a kinship with Red Lobster. Goes deeper than shrimp. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
This is another art I didn't get to. Pope Francis tells priests to keep homilies short as people fall asleep. He suggests that priests not preach for more than 8 minutes.
Are you serious? Is that
8 minutes. I said, whoa. Oh, this is terrible. Oregon dad drug girls at daughter's sleepover. That's horrible. This is this guy. You gotta be careful who you let your kids go out to.
That's true.
So that's it. All right. Well,
That's about parenthood, too.
I appreciate you, son, being on
Yes.
HOD Live for Father's Day. Camille, appreciate your
Yes.
input. Courtney Johnson, appreciate your input.
Thank you,
I hope
sir.
you've had a wonderful evening. Stay tuned next week for more HOD Live. Give our studio audience a wonderful round of applause. Amen.